ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure Willem has plenty of stuff to talk about. Since we swap tracks, I'm not quite sure where it's about. I heard something with revolutionary or revolution and Hyvä. Well, let's hear what he has to say. Please give a warm applause for Willem.
Mic check. This is quite special. I'm so happy that we're doing this in the Netherlands again. How fantastic is it that after 4 or 5 years we sold out Meet Magento Netherlands, the event that's closest to my heart. I'm really thrilled about what I'm seeing today. The community spirit is so much still alive, and big applause to the organization. I think they all did a wonderful job. And I think the venue is great, and all the familiar faces, all the new faces, I'm super happy to see you all. So, who am I? Willem. I created Hyvä, which you might already know something about, or you might hear a lot of new things today. In short, Hyvä means good, desirable, trustworthy. It's in Finnish because I used to live in Finland for a short time. And that's really the DNA of the company. That's what we put into everything that we do. We want to build the best stuff and do good for the people in the world. Something that was really needed in the Magento community, I think, to help agencies that were struggling and merchants that were struggling, SIs, service providers. We founded 3 years ago. Actually, tomorrow is our 3rd anniversary. Yay for that. So tonight, at 12 o'clock tonight, we're gonna drink an extra beer. We're now currently with 12. We were at 6 in January, so we're scaling. We doubled in size this year. We're serving people in 65 plus countries. I think 68 at the moment. Many agencies working with it, also throughout the whole world. And we're roughly 2,200 live stores, also in a time span of 3 years, which even shorter because we launched in February, 2.5 years. And we managed to create a vibrant ecosystem. Well, actually, we were lucky enough to be able to adopt this existing community that's so fantastic that you see today, who were looking for a place where we could all work together on a product that we love. We managed to get pretty much the entire ecosystem to step on board with Hyvä, which is a great testament to the platform that we've built and the extensibility, which is, I think, lacking in most of the other modern platforms, the real capability that Magento already had to actually hook into a system and build plugins and extensions. Just recently, we got a company like Fastly on board, who's fully supporting Hyvä now, and we got PayPal to also integrate Braintree officially, Adyen and Molly, and all of the big extension providers helping us build out that ecosystem. That's crucial for a successful product. It's not just building that team or the checkout that we now have, but it's really, we needed the community and the ecosystem. I think we're building, we're enabling businesses on all fronts in the ecosystem. That's crucial to us, like not to pull everything towards ourselves and start doing extensions or, not cannibalize our own ecosystem. Our growth has been steady. You can compare that to other front-end platforms. I think we're doing exceptionally well. 22 plus 100, 2273 stores live currently. This is public data, buildwith.com. And you can see the top countries, the Netherlands, yay! And the US following. From that same website, buildwith.com, you can see what other platforms are doing in terms of growth and live stores. And we look at the global amount of sites live, so that's the total, where you can see Magento 2 still almost 100k stores live. And this includes demo stores and really small shops that you might not want to count into real life stores. What I find really interesting is the top 1 million, which rank higher. So you can assume that all of these stores are actually production stores running live within the top 1 million of all e-commerce sites worldwide. And in that range, we're doing really well in 3 years' time. So that's super interesting to see. And we're also starting to like really go up in higher segments. Companies like Replay Jeans and Dunkin' Donuts and such stepping onto Hyvä, especially now that we have an enterprise product. In global e-commerce, not just front ends, in global e-commerce technologies worldwide, we're already ranking 36, catching up systems like Lightspeed, which has been around for a decade. So that's pretty cool. We've built our business, especially initially, around the great performance that we get, like green circles in Lighthouse and passing core web vitals. And this is data coming from Google. So this is from actual live stores, where you can see that Hyvä stores, on average, over 50% of them pass core web vitals, whereas PWA Studio doesn't even get to 1%. So that's the great revolution of the performance that was promised for PWA solutions, which is still lacking. Like there's more and more platforms or headless frontends out there right now that score higher, but the amount of investment that you need to do to get that kind of performance is so much higher than with Hyvä, where you get 100 points in page speed out of the box, and then it's up to you to ruin that or keep it at 100. And then one of the things causing that performance is the page weight, so the amount of data that you're sending to the browser, where you can see that Hyvä Themes medium page weight is 1.5 megabytes, including everything, images and everything. Whereas a few storefronts sends 3 megabytes, it's double. Magento stock 2.8 megabytes. And there you can already see where part of the performance is coming from. It's just sending a lot less data to the browser. We're called Hyvä Themes as a company. We stepped away from that. We're a registered brand is Hyvä. Yeah, we're building more products now, but we also realized that it's not just about building a product. As I said before, we have a lot of tooling around it for developers, but also the community and ecosystem is crucial for us to succeed. We've built everything. We've built everything around developer happiness. That's where we originated, and what brought us a lot of successes, because the developers were so grumpy and unsatisfied with working with Luma, and all of those new PWA solutions also didn't really fit the typical Magento developer, because being a JavaScript developer is really different from being a traditional front-end developer. So that's why we grew initially, developers becoming happy and then selling that to their PMs and to the merchants, and everyone got on board. And now across the board we have a lot more proponents to Hyvä, or like evangelists, because if a product manager realizes that a product stays within scope and it can deliver on time, within budget, and your developers are happy too, that's a win-win-win-win solution. This is something I just recently, it clicked. How we should tell, like where Hyvä makes a difference, or what it is that we're doing differently from all of the other solutions. We really dislike the whole revolution, hyping up new technologies that are unproven, experimental, hard to implement, expensive, and change all of the time. And instead of starting a revolution, what we did is kick back evolution. Like we gave evolution a boost, because we had something that was great. Magento 1 was great, Magento 2 evolved into a great, at least backend system. Frontend has always lacked, but it's so outdated now. And evolution has been kept back by a lack of investment, because we were overhyping all of these revolutionary systems. And we went back to the basis, and I think we went to evolutionize what was already there, which we have been working with for 14, 15 years already, building a platform that's stable, that all of you love to work with, but just take away some of those frustrations and build a next iteration over what Magento is. And yeah, evolutionary e-commerce, it's a fresh idea, but it's going to be what we're going to revolve our marketing or message around, because it's so much saner. We just need to give some love to the monolith that we all love and the Magento application, and make that thrive again. And with everyone that's here, and with the energy and the passion that we have, we can make Magento fresh and exciting and innovative again. And Hyvä is just a part of that. We can do that all together. So a couple of things that I just want to run through the products and the services that we have and explain why those are evolutionary. With Hyvä, we didn't build a whole new front end. We took Luma and just removed everything styling and JavaScript wise, everything that was bloated and outdated, and we just replaced it with two libraries, one for CSS and one for JavaScript. Opposed to 800 files, megabytes of JavaScript on Luma, we just replaced it with 80 kilobytes of JavaScript. And then every code that we add, every JavaScript that you add, we do it inline in the front end, which is super efficient, doesn't cause to build up unused code. The same goes for style sheets. Once you start building a style sheet, and things get deprecated in the front end, you never go and remove stuff from CSS again, so your CSS file only grows. And with Tailwind, you never write that style sheet. It's compiled by the code that you're actually using on the page, so that makes it super efficient and performant. We stepped away from blocks and helpers, which is recommended by Magento, but was never implemented. So we built everything from scratch using view models, which is much more composable or reusable, and it removes duplicated code. We have a lot less XML complexity. We love XML, but in the small minimalistic way, not the way that UI components worked. We have a lot of performance tooling that we continuously build into our products. So whenever something develops, like if there's new technologies with a lazy loading or a new technology to implement other lazy load overlays or tracking or whatever, we keep putting that into our products so that our users have those tools available to keep up to date and performant. And yeah, you get a great productivity boost because you got rid of all of the complexity and bloat, and we use modern technologies that are well documented and have their own ecosystem and community around it. And we use a lot of browser capabilities for validation and such. Back in the day, you used the 1 megabyte library for form validation, which your browser also does. So that comes with a zero penalty and data that you need to load. Yeah, as I already said, not every developer is capable in becoming a JavaScript developer, and a lot of them don't. I worked with React for 1.5 years until I decided it's really not for me, and then I started to build Hyvä, and it's like, yes, this is my happy place. Single page applications are not for everyone, especially not for every merchant. I'd like to argue that most merchants are not best served by the single page application. And the entire market knows the tools that we work with because we already have 14, 15 years of experience with them. And there's all this education, tooling, resources around how to work with Magento traditionally. And yeah, as I said, project managers are happy, agency owners are happy, merchants are happy because things stay within budget, because you can actually predict how much time it will take to build something. And they like it almost as much as the good performance and better SEO that comes with that and increased conversion rates. We recently got all the pre-work for WCAG compliance thanks to our partner Snowdog. Is Kuba in the room? You might have catch his talk just earlier. They helped us tremendously by building out the whole report of what needed to be fixed and also implementing that into our team. And now we're also moving that into the other projects, like the Checkout and Enterprise that we have. So that's a continuous partnership that we have, and they've been key in helping us do that. So if you need to get WCAG compliant, you still, like as a merchant, you have the responsibility to get compliance yourself, but we did all the pre-work so that Hyvä out of the box is compliant. And yeah, we're getting more and more showcases that show the fantastic results that merchants are now seeing, an uptick in conversion rates and either average order value or the improved SEO. On all metrics, we see that results increase after implementing Hyvä. So feel free to go to our showcases page. My colleague Chien Lan puts a lot of love and time into writing these showcases together with our customers. We spent 1.5 years, I think, building a new checkout that was also evolutionary. Willem Wigman came to me 2 years ago. He built MageWire, and he was so enthusiastic about it. He said, "So, how you revolutionized how to do or evolutionize? It wasn't a thing yet then. Starting today, it is." He said, "I'm so inspired, and I built this little thing that's based on something from Livewire 2, Laravel 2. It's Livewire, and I built it into MageWire. It's fantastic. And do you have any ideas of how we can do something together?" I said, "You're hired. It doesn't matter what you're going to do. You're hired to figure out what you're going to do." So we started with the most difficult thing, and I said, "If you can build a checkout with it, the technology is solid. So it's the most complicated thing we can do, so just get started." Well, it took 1.5 years, a lot of iterations, but now we have a system that's super, super solid, well-architected, extendable, super performant. Many people here in the room, there was actually a presentation earlier today about Hyvä Checkout and how metrics improved after that. If you see that a Luma checkout on fast mobile connection loads in 28 seconds and ours loads in 2.5 seconds, that says everything about the conversion rates that you will see after switching to a Hyvä Checkout. So it's easier than ever to customize. It takes 2 days to implement a newsletter checkbox in a Luma checkout, and we've heard people saying, "Well, 30 minutes was done, and then we just needed to get it through Q&A." It's so much easier to do it. It's super performant, as I said. It's easy to integrate with. It uses a layout XML system that's bespoke, so that's custom developed. We built that custom. Willem did that. And with XML, you can define the amount of steps that you have in a checkout, what should be shown on which step, and it can be conditional. So if it's a B2B customer, show an extra terms and agreement page. Different steps and components per layout. So you can say I have a mobile layout, which is a 1 column, and for desktop I have a 3 column, and you can completely customize that using XML logic. And then you can switch different layouts from the admin. And it's all pure PHP. So what was difficult about Luma is that a lot of logic lived in the front end, and that was checkout and Magento backend knowledge that you needed to apply in the front end. And the same goes for headless solutions. It's so difficult for a front end developer that actually just wants to build front end experiences. Build interactive elements and just style stuff and do fun stuff, and then they need to learn what a quote is and how that relates to a sale, and how different aspects of that whole architecture works. And with MageWire, all of that logic is moved to the back end. So the front ender, he can just bind things, and it's super simple syntax. He can just style things and determine what's shown where, but all of the difficult logic lives in the backend, where you already have your PHP developers, your backend developers that understand how the whole quote and checkout and sale mechanism works, so they can build those interactions using PHP. And that's automatically translated into JavaScript on the front end. So you don't need to write JavaScript anymore to build an integration for this checkout or customize it. Conditional rendering, as I said, B2B can get a totally different checkout experience than a consumer. All of the state lives in the backend, which I think is a big one. With headless, you need to build your state in the front end and sync that with backend. And then actually backend knows the actual state of the quote, and front end just needs to figure out if a session expired or something else, the prices changed in the backend. You need to constantly keep that in sync, and it's all overhead because you're duplicating logic in backend and frontend. And here, everything lives in the backend. And the front end just handles user interface and design. So it's a lot easier to customize. It comes out of the box with a one-page or three-column layout and a two-column layout, so multi-step. We're actually working, we have some designs also which we're supposed to go into our UI library, which I'll talk about next, but we're going to revamp the styling of the checkout as well. First showcases coming out showing tremendous increasements in conversion and average order value, and just go through the room later and talk to people that have worked with, talk to people from Vandik and Elgentos who worked with it, and they can tell you how much easier it is to implement and how great the results are after going live. Again, it's crucial to have the ecosystem around the product and not just only build a great product. So we're working really hard to get the big partners on board. PayPal giving official support for Braintree, and PayPal, that's major. Could never have dreamed that they would officially back and support our product. Stripe, MultiSavePay, all the big ones. Adyen is also recently added. So that's crucial for the success of this product. We're working on MVP, or like a first version of a Luma only version, so you can just install the Hyvä Checkout without using the theme. So we hear a lot of agencies working with merchants where they first want to migrate the checkout and then see if they also change the theme in a later stage. So pretty soon you will be able to buy the checkout as a standalone solution. Hyvä UI, how am I doing time-wise? 9 more minutes? That's Russia. Hyvä UI, so initially we plan to create a separate product out of this as an add-on to the theme, a UI library with components that you can just copy and paste into your theme and everything works. So there's a lot of UI libraries out there in the market, especially for Tailwind, but they're only styling and HTML. They're not functional, especially not, some of them are for React or Vue, but not for classic HTML. So what we did is build a library with proper designs in Figma, with a whole design system behind it that your designers will love, and then components that you can just copy into your theme, and then everything is included. The JavaScript, but also the backend logic, view model. So if you have a newsletter subscription component, it comes with the validation and reCAPTCHA and actually submitting the form and like everything. So that's a lot more powerful than a regular UI library. It really gives you superpowers, as in that you have this whole set of components that you can show your merchant or your designer and say, okay, which header do you want to use, A, B, or C? Put it in. And then what footer fits or what menu fits the catalog that you have? Do you need one level, 2 level, 3 level? So then, okay, let's use a mega menu, just copy and paste it into it. It's pre-styled, tweak it a little bit, and you're done. So the more the UI library that we're building grows out, the more you can build a unique theme with standard components, but just mixing and matching, and the combinations are endless. So you can create a custom theme pretty much with minimal styling and have a store that looks unique. So they're all fully functional, out of the box, based on the Figma design, plug and play. And I have some examples. It's like a mobile menu in 3 variants. And then the desktop version in 3 different, so you see it as things like currency and some banners that are added, or you have a menu that drops out after click instead of hover. Different mega menus, so that's a 1 level. We also have a 2 levels, so first a vertical, then a horizontal dropout. Different footers for mobile, so you see you have accordions that are fully functional. The newsletter works out of the box. And then for desktop the same, and we have content elements that you can just copy and paste into the admin, and then all of the styling is automatically generated, so you don't need to put any CSS in a style sheet or whatever. So that's great to easily create an about page or whatever CMS page, different banners, and this is why it's easiest to speed up here, sliders, category landing pages with or without images, different product listings with a slightly more designed swatch and swatch layout, and small variations. It's the listing view, newsletter pop-up, fully functional, so it also saves a cookie when you close it, so it all just works. Different notification styles, so you can have this app-like sticky one in the corner or just on the top, but we add icons to the messages. With different layouts for models that you can use and custom extensions that you're writing. And if you take that model and look at the Figma file, you can see there's different breakpoints that are built into the Figma file. And you can click into any element and then you end up in all of these assets that you can also, like if you just change a color here, then that's applied to all of the UI components. So if you apply the styling of your brand, like the branding, colors and logo, then everything applies, and it's super easy to just give that to your developer and say, okay, tweak the colors and we're done. So all of the colors are defined, so that's all linked, and then the way that you use it, it's just like you have you download a copy of the UI library, then you have all of the components in a file structure. Every component has its own README, how to use it, if there's anything you need to tweak in your theme configuration. And then if you want to use this particular messages component, you just copy that Magento theme templates messages into your theme, and then it just works. So that's available to all of our team customers. We initially planned to make a separate product out of it, but we thought everyone wins if Hyvä themes become prettier and easier to make. So this is included for free with any team license, and we have 2 people working full-time on expanding the UI library, so that's a continuous investment that we're making in making that bigger and better. Hyvä Enterprise, I think we're going to make it. Hyvä Enterprise, we recently launched. We have John Yu and Ryan Hissey, both from the UK, who are working on our enterprise offering, which is basically compatibility with Adobe Commerce. That's a premium offering, so you buy that on top of the Hyvä theme if you use Adobe Commerce, and currently it's in early access and it implements all of the B2B features already, so we have full coverage for B2B. Which we saw most demand for, so that's where we started. And Sensei, live search and product recommendations is fully, we worked with the Adobe team. We had almost daily calls for 50 minutes just to debug, because they have this API that's a black box. You can't see if any tracking is done in the front end. You have to wait a day until you see the results of that query. So it's impossible as a developer to really talk to the API and debug. So we needed to do that with daily calls to them. Just say, like, I clicked here. Yeah, I can see it in the backend. Okay, then this part is done. Yeah, we're very happy that we managed to collaborate with Adobe there, and I think that's the beginning of a long-term partnership with Adobe, because they have a very large part of the customer base that are currently on Luma, that are struggling with performance, that are not a good fit, that even Adobe says, well, they're not a good fit for where our product's heading with the headless solution and the new Edge product that they're now building. A lot of those Luma customers will never make that upgrade to a system that's that more complex and hard to maintain. You don't only get feature coverage, but also the benefits of fast performance that you get with Hyvä theme. It supports all B2B features, Sensei, and we're working on standard commerce features. So that's a work in progress, but it's going quite fast. We historically, from the moment that we started, our agencies working with Hyvä were really anxious to get Hyvä on Adobe Commerce as well, and they couldn't wait. So they worked on features like RMA was the first thing, I think, return management. And they were kind enough to contribute that to Hyvä and then kind of worked it into a partnership status. And these are the agencies that contributed most on that front. Some built the entire company structure module. And that was all before we realized that to really make a viable product for enterprise, we need to take ownership over that and make sure that all of the code is uniform the way that Hyvä built something, because these were separate contributions. The way that they were implemented were somewhat different, of course, because a different person implementing it. So we unified the way that grids are being loaded and everything in the back end. This really, the contributions that we did get really helped us quick starter, really gave us a push to quickly build the first version of our B2B compatibility. So super grateful for those people that have been contributing over the past years on Enterprise. Here's quickly some examples of how that works. So you have drag and drop in your company structure. That's all fully functional. Company credit is working. The quick search, Sensei, that works really, really fast. Quotes, purchase orders. If you're familiar with the B2B suite, it's super extensive. So there's a lot of things that you can do there that weren't too hard to implement, but it's just a lot of things that needed to be done. Purchase orders, and there's a video which I recorded with John and Ryan where we show how this works in action. So if you're interested, you can find that from the product page. You can see everything in action on the Enterprise product. And there's useful FAQs on that page as well. Yeah, and that's, I think, I might replace this one the next time with how we evolutionize e-commerce. But at the core, e-commerce made happy is still what drives us, or what is our main tagline. We're trying to make a better version of the product that we all know, Magento, and build products that help you build exceptional front ends in stores. So we have some, for the monolith lovers, we have a special t-shirt for this event, our majestic monolith. So yeah, that's what I had for you today. Thank you.